Have you ever walked away from a goal and felt completely justified doing it? Not angry, not frustrated, just calm, certain, maybe even relieved. That quiet, reasonable moment, the one where you tell yourself you're just being practical, that's usually where self-sabotage begins. If you've ever left something and convinced yourself it was the smart decision, subscribe. We're here to understand what actually happens in that moment. This is Follow Through, where intention meets action. What makes that moment so dangerous is that it doesn't feel like failure. It feels mature, responsible. You tell yourself you just need clarity, or better timing, or a clearer head. I used to do that all the time. I would step back and call it reevaluating. It sounded thoughtful, strategic. But if I'm honest, most of the time I wasn't reevaluating anything. I was retreating, and I didn't see it that way because it didn't feel dramatic. It didn't feel reckless. If quitting felt chaotic, you would resist it. But it often feels calm, and that calmness is what makes it convincing. The decision to quit rarely happens when you're exhausted or overwhelmed. It usually happens when something becomes exposed. Look closely at when you tend to leave. It's not at the beginning, when everything still feels open and exciting. It's when progress becomes measurable, when feedback becomes possible, when the outcome might actually reveal something about you. That's when the shift happens. Because now, it's no longer just about effort. It's about identity. As long as something is unfinished, you can still tell yourself, I could have done it. But once you fully try, and especially once you finish, you might lose that illusion. An illusion is comfortable. It protects the story you tell about yourself. Self-sabotage isn't weakness. It's protection. Your brain would often rather preserve your self-image than update it, so it creates a graceful exit. A delay, a reset, a reframe, anything. But exposure. Internally, it usually starts with a question. What if I'm not as capable as I thought? You might not say it out loud, but you feel it. And that question carries weight, because potential feels infinite. As long as something lives in potential, there are no edges. Reality has edges. Reality can confirm growth, but it can also reveal limits. And instead of discovering those limits, many of us leave. We call it burnout, or distraction, or timing, or it just wasn't aligned. I used to believe that too, but the pattern kept repeating. Different goal, same exit, because the mechanism never changed. I wasn't sabotaging the goal. I was protecting the version of myself who still believed she could do anything, as long as she never had to prove it. And in the moment, that protection feels wise, until weeks pass, and you realize you've done it again. So what actually breaks that pattern? Not more discipline, not pushing harder. What changes things is awareness. Awareness of the exact moment the negotiation begins. The quiet shift, the subtle reasoning, the sentence in your head that sounds intelligent, but feels slightly like retreat. That's where the real decision lives. Not at the dramatic beginning, not at the visible end, but in that quiet middle moment. And this is where the stay rule becomes powerful. Not as productivity advice, but as interruption. When you feel that shift, don't escalate. Don't try to prove yourself. Just don't disappear. Reduce the effort if you need to. Shrink the scope, but keep the presence. Every time you interrupt the escape, you teach your brain something new. Exposure isn't fatal. It's information. And information is what updates identity. That's how self-trust rebuilds. Slowly. And usually without drama. Not through perfection, but through staying when the illusion collapses. I put the stay rule into a short guide you can download below. It's intentionally short, so you actually finish it. No pressure. Just something to help you recognize that moment before you vanish. You don't self-sabotage because you're incapable. You self-sabotage because part of you feels safer untested. The courage isn't in starting. It's in staying long enough to update who you are. Stay. That's where identity shifts. If this clarified something you felt but couldn't quite name, like the video, it helps this reach people who are quietly stuck in the same invisible cycle. And if you're serious about breaking it, subscribe. We're building this one layer at a time.